again, everybody. My name is Maria Korolov, and I'm a technology journalist, science fiction author, and editor of a sci-fi magazine. And today I'm going to talk about why companies keep investing in AI projects if 95% of them fail. So I have a particular unique perspective on this because what I do with my day job is I talk to company executives. I talk to CIOs and CTOs and VPs of technology and all these other people, mostly at non-tech companies who are deploying artificial intelligence technologies, the new ones, not the old ones, machine learning, those work great. Nobody has any complaints about those. I'm talking about the new generative AI ones that hallucinate, that go off the rails, that don't know what they're talking about, that cost too much money, all the bad things about AI, the waste energy, all those things. Why are they investing in AI if 95% of their projects fail? So first of all, not the 95% of projects failing statistic is from MIT. It's from research that they did a year ago last summer. So this is already dated. It was a small group of companies. So it's also not really necessarily representative. And they're also focused on particular kinds of AI projects. But even if that statistic was completely true, which I'm not seeing show up in other studies, but even if that statistic was true, there's still a reason for companies to invest in AI and good reasons for why they're doing it. And it's not because the VCs are pushing it. Yes, the venture capitalists want to make money from their investments. Yes, they're always looking for the next thing to invest in, but they're not driving businesses deploying it, because a business is not going to spend money indefinitely just to keep some venture capitalists happy. It's not because the vendors are pushing it. Again, the vendors can push it all they want. If the companies who are using the technology can't get it working, they will stop using that technology. I've seen this personally. I'm a big fan of virtual reality and the metaverse and immersive experiences and all that stuff. I've been running a blog about it for 15 years. I love this stuff. It never took off in enterprise. There have been a couple of use cases. Ford Motor Company used it to prototype cars. A couple of doctors used it to plan out their heart surgeries. Military uses it for some training simulation exercises. But for the most part, other than very, very niche use cases, the technology never really got adopted. No matter how much venture capitalists invested in it, no matter how much Zuckerberg and other vendors wants to happen, no matter how much the media hyped it up, it was on the cover of Newsweek. Remember when Second Life was big? I've been trying to write about it for ages. The reason it's not happening is because companies are not seeing a transformative impact from it. Same thing for blockchain. So many people are pushing blockchain technologies. I am a journalist who covers tech. I can't think of a single big blockchain company off the top of my head. The only ones that come to mind are either the ones where the founders of some crypto exchange are in prison, or where the crypto exchange was hacked for billions of dollars. And I can't think of any actual vendor or platform provider working in this space. And I literally write about this for a living. It never really took off outside of some very, very niche use cases because it wasn't transformative. Companies did not see business benefit out of it, no matter how much there was of it in theory. And same thing for virtual reality. Maybe in theory, there's a lot of business benefit from it, but in practice, pretty much anything you can do with metaverse, horizons, worlds, you can do over Zoom. You can do over Zoom, you can do it better over Zoom because you also can see your calendar, you can see your email, you can see your computer keyboard. You're not getting a headache from this headset on your face. So many reasons not to use virtual reality that are real good reasons. But the biggest one that companies are not investing in virtual reality because it's not currently transformative, it doesn't currently provide any business benefit. And they did the pilots, and the pilots didn't go anywhere, and they stopped doing the pilots. So you might say, well, in AI, all the pilots are failing too. And they're not. So that's the thing. Even if only 5% of pilots are succeeding, those 5% of pilots are transformative to the business. They create substantial business value to the companies deploying them. So what happened when AI first came out is all the CIOs and the CTOs and the VPs of technology and everybody else at all the companies started using it. It was the technology with the fastest adoption rate we've seen in the history of technology. Like everybody started using ChatGPT and all the other generative AI tools. And people could immediately see the potential of it, right? So they could see the potential of it for their own jobs. Not just that theoretically, oh, if everybody was using Bitcoin, then we would have. No, they could see immediate practical implications for how they themselves worked and researched and did a lot of stuff. So a lot of pilots went into effect in companies, proof of concepts, test projects, niche use cases. They started rolling all of these things out over the past couple of years. And the ones that worked were transformative. They made a business impact. And the people deploying these technologies could see how they would scale to other lines of business. So you deployed it over here, you've shown how it works, and they could see how they could use it everywhere else. So you deploy a research assistant in the sales support function, and it works. And now you can start seeing how it will work on the help desk, in human resources, in marketing, in manufacturing, and in any other of your vertical business units. You can immediately see the implications of it. And companies are seeing the implications of it, and they're seeing how transformative it's going to be. And this is why, despite the high failure rates of projects, the investment in AI by global businesses is higher than any other investment of any other technology that I've seen before. And it's moving faster than anything I've ever seen before. So I'm seeing estimates that the capabilities of AI are doubling every 7 months or so. Now, Moore's law basically says that the capacity of computer chips to do their work is doubling every 18 to 24 months. And so we're moving faster with AI than Moore's law. And it can be a little hard to see from the consumer side because these technologies seem to level off. So say, for example, you have an image generator tool and it makes images. And at first they were like weird and creepy. And then they were like looking really experimental and abstract. And then they almost became realistic, but everybody had 6 fingers and 3 legs. And then they started becoming more and more realistic. And then all of a sudden you couldn't tell them apart. And that happened over the course of a year, where pictures went from being like creepy, like nightmarish things to perfect images. And then after that, it's like, okay, where do you go now, right? AI progress has stopped. But it didn't stop, because that same kind of curve repeated itself in videos. That same kind of curve repeated itself in 3D environments, in product mock-ups, in software development. And it's repeating itself right now in agentic systems. So we're building these layers of AI on top of each other. We're getting into reasoning models. We're getting into world models. We're getting into multimodal models and all of these things that, even though any particular model seems to be leveling off, because if it's 95% accurate and goes to 96% of accuracy, it's kind of hard to see the difference. But we're leveling up in terms of how it works. It's now not a single model. It's now a best of experts model. It's now a thinking and reasoning model. It's now a world model. It's now a multimodal model. It's now a model that's agentic in nature and framework. So we're getting these kinds of lifts in AI technology, and we have been for the past 2, 3 years. And it's absolutely insane how it's moving up. Is it going to level off? Nobody knows. I mean, you don't know what's going to be invented next, because like nobody knows what's going to be invented next. But even if at this point it levels off with agentic AI, at agentic AI with world models, reasoning models, multimodal models, and a mixture of agent models with chain of thought auditing, we now have an infrastructure that is capable of transforming how companies are going to run their businesses. Nearly every job function that touches a computer or knowledge work or data in any way is going to get transformed by AI. Doesn't mean those jobs are going to go away. Those jobs are going to become restructured. Those jobs are going to be different. And the bottom line is that a company's productivity is going to improve. Their costs are going to go down. They're going to be able to produce more goods and services for their customers. They're going to see a higher profit margin, and it's going to grow the economy, which will create jobs, as a side effect, which is every time the economy grows, new jobs are created. So when in the past, when we've had technologies that really made us more efficient, it did not cause unemployment. It would cause job losses in those particular sectors, but it did not cause an increase in unemployment, which is the same thing we're seeing now with AI. We're seeing people laying people off and claiming it's because of AI, but the unemployment rates are not going up. We're still creating more jobs and we're losing. So I think that's going to continue because that's how technology and innovation and productivity works. So when I talk to CIOs, I'm doing a story now on how the CIO's job is going to transform itself because it's going to be transformed next year. And everybody I talk to is pointing at AI as the single biggest transformative factor for that job function and for the entire company, because the CIO next year is going to be somebody who is standing side by side with business leaders, figuring out how to transform the company around AI. So everything that we've seen with AI so far is nothing compared to what's coming. So far we've seen proof of concepts and pilots. Companies trying it out with different use cases, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, optimizing it, zeroing in on their own use cases and their own benefits. And next year, we're going to start scaling this. We're going to start setting up AI frameworks and infrastructures that are company-wide. And we're going to start deploying like the most advanced models, the most advanced agents, and the smallest specialized models and everything in between. We're going to be deploying the commercial models and the open source models, and we're going to be deploying models that companies create themselves because it's getting easier and easier to build your own models, to build your own agents, to build your own infrastructure, and easier to buy it off the shelf. So all of these things are coming together at a pace faster than anything I've seen before in my 20 plus years covering technology. And it pales in comparison to the previous technological changes. And all the complaints that people have about AI, the copyright issues, the accuracy issues, the trust and explainability issues, there are like industries working to tackle those issues and solve them because the benefits are so huge. If you are a naysayer about AI, I strongly suggest that you read an article. It was called The Internet Ba, and it ran in Newsweek in 1995. Newsweek has since renamed it to Why the Web Won't Be Nirvana, and I'll post it down below. I'll post a link down below. And the guy, Clifford Stoll, was totally accurate. The internet was a wasteland. It was inaccurate. It was unreliable. You couldn't find anything on it. A single shopping mall did more commerce than all of the internet did in a year. A mall did in a day, all these things, which were all true at the time. But he figured that they were always going to be true, that there was no shopping on the internet, therefore there was never going to be any shopping on the internet. Nobody likes to read books on a computer. Therefore, nobody will ever want to read books except in print. That web search is unreliable. Therefore, web search is always going to be unreliable. So every criticism that people have about AI, just remember the capability of AI is doubling every 7 months. So it's unreliable and it hallucinates. Companies worry about this a lot because they need reliable AI. So there's a lot of effort being put into improving the original accuracy of the AIs, adding fact-checking functionality to the AIs, adding outside guardrails, and other additional systems to improve the fact-checking for the AIs. So huge amount of effort being put into solving that problem. Same thing for auditability. Anthropic has been posting articles and research papers where they, in effect, do an MRI of the model's brain while it's thinking, so they can see which circuits light up when it's thinking about certain concepts, which, by the way, is how they know that AIs have concepts and they have internal thoughts. They're not just auto-completing text to text. There's a step in the middle, but when they get the question and when they give the answer, where they think about these things. And you can see the circuits lighting up for the concept big, or for the concept dog, or for the concept black, and interacting with each other. It is really, really cool. Fantastic research that they're doing. And I am human in real life, and my phone occasionally goes off. All right. Yeah, so Anthropic has been publishing papers about this. There's progress being made in auditability of models, so you see what they're thinking as they're thinking it, so you can see why they made their decisions, instead of just asking the model to explain it after the fact, because then it just kind of like rationalizes its answer. So you want to get the chain of thought while in progress. So auditability is a huge issue for companies. Definitely could be an obstacle to the deployment of AI, and therefore a lot of people are working on it. And a lot of progress has already been made. And I think there's going to be a lot of progress queued up and coming online in the next year. Copyright issues. So we've been seeing court cases coming out in favor of AI. And you might think, well, how is it in favor of AI if Anthropic was found guilty and they're having to pay like astronomical amounts of money to authors? Well, they were found guilty for illegally downloading books from pirates for pirating books. They were not found guilty for using those books for training data. That part was okay. Piracy is wrong, but using the books for training data was fine. If so, Anthropic was buying used books and ripping them apart and scanning them in, that was fine. Downloading books from piracy websites, not fine. Which means that scraping the web, because you're doing that legally, and then using it for training data is fine. And that's why there's been an explosion of AI bots on the internet, because the AI companies are seeing this as a green light for everything that they do. Another copyright issue is you can't copyright AI output. And this is a problem for companies. Say I write a nice press release about what I'm doing, and I want to have the copyright to that press release, but the AI helped me write the press release. I want that copyright. So that's working its way through the system as well. And the US Copyright Office has been slowly backing away from its no AI policy. So, for example, you might say, if you just type in a prompt and the computer gives you the answer. You didn't do any work. I mean, anybody could type in a prompt. But the same is true if you take a picture. If you're just pressing a button. It's hardly any work. Anybody can press a button from the same angle and get the same result, right? Or better yet, you can put your camera on a timer, or you can put your camera on one of those motion detector things, and the camera takes a picture. You don't even have to decide when to take a picture. You still own the copyright to that picture, right? If 10 people take the same exact picture of the Eiffel Tower, each one of them owns the copyright to their own picture. So I think that's going to work its way through the courts a little bit. But also, courts are also saying, well, was there any human input at all? So if the AI just touched up the grammar, or if the AI just rearranged a few sentences, but the human did the rest of the work, or maybe the AI did the original draft and then the human, rearranged things and had some input in it, it's okay then. So they're already making all these exceptions to the no AI policy. And I think it's going to continue because companies want to be able to copyright their own text. You don't want somebody to steal your entire website and your entire catalog and everything else just because some of it was AI generated. So that's going to be a big deal. And very big companies are very invested in making AI content copyrightable. And so I cannot point any fingers, but I'm pretty confident that a lot of money is changing hands right now at various political levels to try to get this resolved in the favor of corporations. And this means that the main obstacles to deploying AI are on the verge of disappearing. Accuracy, accountability and transparency, and the copyright issue. Yeah, so if you're counting on those things to stop AI from happening, don't count on those things. If you're counting on companies not being able to prove the benefit of their AI projects, don't count on that because companies are testing a lot of things right now. They're throwing everything at the wall and they're seeing what sticks, and then they're leaning into those things. And enough AI things are sticking that something like 99% of companies in the best surveys are planning to increase their investment in AI, which I have not seen happen in any technology before. And the reason they're increasing their investment in AI, that they're doubling down on this, is because they're seeing the initial benefits and they're seeing how transformative it's going to be. And so if you're like me, you're a content creator and you're hoping that the train isn't coming after all, because, companies can't be stupid forever. Why are they throwing good money after bad? They're not throwing good money after bad. They're making really good business decisions here because the CIOs have been through this before. They're my age. They've been through the .com, they've been through mobile, they've been through cloud, they've been through blockchain, they've been through the metaverse. They've seen the fads come and go, and they have enough experience to know the difference. And when they're rolling this technology out, they're seeing how effective it is. They're seeing the potential of it to scale up. They're seeing the potential of it to be transformative. And they're seeing the potential of it to be an extinction level event if they don't get a handle on what's going on. And so, yeah, it's definitely a train. It's definitely coming. It's not going anywhere. And it's coming faster than anything I've covered in my 20 years covering technology. All right, so on that happy note, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for sticking around. And for those that have, I'm going to post some links down below to my previous articles on these topics that I write for magazines. And I'm going to post a link to that Newsweek article as well. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. See you next time.